Being aware of online safety has never been more important, particularly for parents and caregivers of young people. The good news is that there are some options available to you to restrict what your child can do on a device as well as the content they can consume. For this video, we're going to go through some of the common settings available to you in an iPhone.
The very first thing we're going to do is that we're going to go into our settings and we're going to find a setting there called screen time. Before we start playing around with the different settings and altering things, we're just going to set up a passcode. This will help ensure that somebody can't turn things on and off. We do this by simply tapping on the Use Screen Time passcode and selecting a secure code. The very first setting that we're going to look at here is the downtime option. This allows you to choose a period of time when there's restricted access to the phone. To enable this feature, the very first thing we're going to do is to turn it on. Now we get the opportunity to select a period of time to restrict access to the phone. You'll see in this example, access is restricted between 10 PM and 7 AM. And as we go along in this video, we'll show you how to alter what is allowed and disallowed during this period of time. We're going to go back now and select App Limits. Within this section, we can put a limit of time per day apps can be used, either on an individual basis or by categories. In this example, I'm going to select Social to list all the apps in the social media category, and then I'm going to tap Next and alter the time limit of 1 hour per day for these apps. This may be a good way to ensure your child is not spending an excessive unhealthy time on social media apps or even games. We're going to go back now and select the Communication Limits option. This is where we can alter who our child can communicate with using things like calls, FaceTime, and messages. We can change these settings for both during screen time as well as during downtime, which we went through altering at the start of this video. You'll likely see that for both of these options, it's set to allow communication with anyone. We can, however, tap either one of these and change. So, for example, only allow communication with contacts. One thing to keep in mind is that for this particular setting to be applied, you will likely need to have your contacts synced to your iCloud. We are going to go back now and select Always Allowed. This is important as the apps in the Allowed Apps section are always accessible, even during downtime. You will see that the Facebook Messenger app is always allowed. Let's remove this. Now that it's removed, you will see that when I try to access it during downtime, it doesn't open. Let's go back to our screen time settings now and select Content and Privacy Restrictions. There's a lot more you can do within the content and privacy restrictions, such as altering what child can do in the App Store. So, for example, you can disallow the installation of new apps. But what we're going to do is we're going to tap on Content Restriction. As you can see here, we can alter what type of content, such as podcasts, movies, apps, etc., are allowed on the device to ensure that your child is only seeing content appropriate for their age group. What we're going to look at in more detail is the web content option. This is perhaps one of the more important things that we're going to cover, as this is where we can restrict what web content can be seen. If this is set to unrestricted access, this means that a child can be exposed to inappropriate content. If it is set to limit adult websites, this should prevent the loading of adult content. The third option, Allowed Websites Only, allows you as a parent to enter specific websites, and these are the only sites your child will be able to successfully load. Finally, we can see the Always Allow and Never Allow options. What I could do here is add a website to Never Allow to prevent a child from accessing certain sites. For example, if I add www.facebook.com, my child cannot access this site from the web browser. Although there are many different devices and available parental controls may differ, hopefully this video has given you an understanding of some of the potential tools available to you to help keep your child safe online.